I mean, I have a ton of questions, but we're gonna get into the pods. First, do we have any comments? Anybody talking some?
Jake, your mother says she's blessed to have you as a son.
Oh, hey, Mom.
McLevin, who is Jake's sister, says, I think that using the term queer as an umbrella term helps for those that may be questioning what they are or those who don't know really how to describe it.
Can I just say something? I'm sorry, Mama, for saying something about sexuality. I didn't know you were watching. I'm sorry. Lo siento. Okay, we're going to move on.
Irene Soto, good.
But can we just get into the spread? I don't know. Afterwards, y'all going to have to get a video.
Yes.
Thank you, Victoria. Victoria hooked this
Yes,
up for us. I wish I could say I took a
beautiful.
little part.
Thank
I'd be
you.
saying fruit, though. She heard me on that part. But thank you. It looks beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
We're
It's
having
beautiful.
fruit, chips, queso, spinach dip, guacamole, serving that. And I'm sorry I had to say that. But
She's all about the food.
because y'all see I keep dipping in my chip and the dip. Okay.
Speaking of food, we do have a foodie segment, so make sure you're watching Served in Dallas. We have a new video out,
Yes,
so go
please
watch
watch
that after this live.
Watch that.
Let's get into
Let's
the
get
part.
into it.
So we do this little thing where we just go like this and say, "Food boiling." Yeah.
Love it.
Jake's mom says it's all good.
Okay, so why do you think trans people tend to be left out?
Like, like in what sense?
I guess they're left out in every
Conversation.
sense, but which like where do we want to talk about?
Like in the community, like in like the LGBT plus community. Well, not that all trans people. Why I feel trans people are left out and by the community is because I hear it from trans people. So I don't think, like, I know it. Like, some people do feel that way, but then anybody, you can say anybody technically can feel that way. Anybody can feel left out in the community. Specifically, though, what I meant specifically was Black trans women. I feel like we tend to forget a lot of pioneering that they did for our community. And even with, this goes into like, even like drag history and how drag history had such a profound impact on trans people, like how they were like, oh, I can do this, like I can be something that I feel like I should have been. I think that we leave them out in almost every sense, like as far as like pride goes, as far as the movement that's happening in the BLM movement right now, like we forget constantly about our Black trans women and that how, like, being trans, first of all, you're already like socially at a disadvantage. Being a colored person, disadvantaged, but being Black right now and trans, you are at like, you're vulnerable right now. And I feel like, I think that what I meant by that question is more like right now we aren't listening enough to those voices, to trans voices, especially Black trans women. And I feel like if we just listen to them more and we take direction from them, that we wouldn't have these issues. Obviously, race is going to be an issue at any point. I feel like I'm going to die with race being an issue, you know? So I think that if we just listened more to specifically Black trans women, we wouldn't have these types of issues.
And honestly, some Black people, like, honestly, guilty because it's like we exile any Black man that wants to transition to be a woman. And I don't know if it's that stigma of we have to have a Black man, a strong Black man, you know, just being honest. So I think we have to be more accepting that people are who they are. You can't, you're gonna die in this world. They might still be here. Your opinion doesn't matter, you know, so I get what you're saying. The Black community definitely has to step up as well as other communities.
Yeah, and I feel uncomfortable saying something like that because I'm not Black.
Yeah, but I'm going to say
mean?
it for you.
Yeah.
So I mean, I agree with both of y'all, but I'm just gonna clarify that the Black Lives Matter movement is it's really about police brutality. It's about racial injustices. So that's why trans people are not really highlighted, because it doesn't happen to them at the same rate that it happens to a Black man or a Black woman. Black women are more left out of the Black Lives Matter movement, in my opinion. But like, no, they are left out, but I feel like I don't know. For some reason, I feel like they're not really left out too. That's why I was saying like I have this like I don't know, like I'm in the middle kind of, because I'm like I feel like I feel like trans do kind of get a lot of like conversations around them. Like we are constantly talking about trans issues. So I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so, but I think it's just maybe not specifically geared towards black trans as much too. I don't know. It's not highlighted. Like I understand.
Yeah, I mean, and this goes back to me like not wanting to like say something that makes me look like an idiot, like a jackass, basically. Like I can't say like I can't look at the black community and be like, y'all need to do better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that's disrespectful. But like with black trans women, and whenever I meant trans, I specifically meant black trans women. They already are kind of ostracized they're already ostracized by their queer community, by the LGBT community sometimes. And that's one community that they can identify with comfortably. And more than that, by their own people, like own black people as well. That being trans is not okay, and my community does as well. Latino people, Latinx community, we do that with our people too.
So that's what I was gonna say, because I was like, I feel like that is prevalent in every community.
Absolutely.
Where it's like they're not really for the trans people in their community. So it's almost like the black community is consistently having to like take the weight of being the ones who are discriminatory. And I'm not gonna lie, some of them are discriminatory, like they're straight up, hateful or whatever. But I feel like we also have to be careful and make sure that like black people are not consistently the ones who are oppressing. Because I mean, if anything, we're all an oppressed group. And the thing with black people is they're gonna see your color before they see anything else. So like if something happens, like they're going to speak on that as a black person. So that's why they don't connect with it when it's like a trans thing or like a LGBT thing or whatever.
I also think, just in my experience, that when you talk about the black community and you're talking about the LGBTQ plus community, it comes from like a religious thing in my standpoint. Like when I have a conversation with someone who is black and they don't agree or believe with, it always comes from like a biblical standpoint. And also I feel like when we talk about black trans, I feel like the conversation only comes up when we are talking about someone who has, God forbid, been like murdered, or
that's what
it's always it's never anything like positive. Not that it just never comes from a positive light. It always comes from a negative light, and then we're talking about it. I never just see us just having the conversation of being accepted, and so it comes from just a sad place, which is sad because everyone should be accepted for who they are. It doesn't literally matter what you do. Like, it's your life. I don't understand why people are so invested in other people's lives and the decisions that they make for themselves. But that's all I have to say.
I'm gonna say with the trans thing, it's a little different. Like, okay, with being like gay or lesbian or bisexual, like that is just your life and you do go about it. But like with being trans, like other people do have a responsibility now. Like you expect them to, ask you about the pronoun things or whatever. Right. And like a lot of people in the community, they're gonna think that's not really much. Right. But I'm like, it is kind of a lot. I mean, it's just like if you changed your name or whatever, like I would still be calling you the name I've known you for years or whatever. Right. But not to say that I wouldn't be respectful and like, go with it. But I'm just saying like with trans, they do expect other people to like see them as something. And then that's when I feel like the opinions really come. Because in my opinion, I'm like, okay, if they want to be trans, they can be trans or whatever. But with black trans women, I'm like, a lot of times they want to take over like black women's spaces. In my opinion, that's how I view it. And I'm like, with black women's spaces, I think it's really important that we all have our own space. And when you say that, it's like, oh, you're transphobic. I'm like, that's not transphobic. To say that I feel like you as a trans woman has different issues than me as someone who was born a woman. That's just
Absolutely.
what it is.
And it's some people who feel like they're already entitled because they got the change. So I think that's where it comes to when you transition, and then you automatically feel like I'm a woman. Like
Yeah.
I'm better than you, because there's some people that are like that. So I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And I feel like that's more so the disconnect because, in my opinion, like I felt like black women were kind of like, you know, allies to the like queer community. So I'm like, that's weird that I hear a lot of black trans women say like, it's up to black women to kind of change the narrative. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know how we're supposed to change the narrative. So to me, it's like, it is kind of like, it's misogyny in a sense. And that sounds like discriminatory to say, but I'm like, that's still the male energy we're talking about, trying to force us to accept you in our community, and then force us to fight for your issues when we haven't even gotten our issues sorted out. So it's like, I don't know, it's a hard one for me.
Yeah, dude. And again, like, I wasn't, like, I can't really speak on, like, black communities' issues and stuff like that. But whenever you are explaining how, because I have always considered black women to be, like, my allies off jump. I don't know why. They've always just been like that for me. So I've also never been a woman. I'm not a woman, so I don't know what it's like to feel the misogyny. I can understand it whenever you speak about it and you talk about how like it's affecting the way you live your day in, day outs, but like whenever it comes down to like straight up misogyny, like I don't know what that feels like. So thank you for bringing up that point, and I will do better to work on that because I do rely on the black community a lot, and that's my fault. But I just was specifically just trying to talk about black trans women, and because the topic was LGBT, that was the first thing that came to mind, especially since it's a part of my community as well.
No, yeah, for sure. I very appreciate like you bringing up the topic because hearing both sides of it is like what's gonna move the conversation further. Because if we don't have those conversations, we'll never know how like both sides are really feeling. Because there's work to be done on both ends,
Definitely.
and then like we can come to like a solution or whatever.
Right.
So that's just my take on it. Don't think I'm like whatever.
Next question.
Yeah.
Can we get back into the pot?
Okay.
Can we see what else we got?
Okay, so why do you think gay men and lesbians are not always getting along? Oh wait, yeah, not always get along or hang out together. I don't understand.
Like
white
they have
gays.
they have their very independent spaces, but they're considered one group.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You know what's
It was just
crazy?
like this was such a small piece of paper.
Okay.
You know what's like interesting? We went to like a queer shop, me and my friend Chris back in Austin. We went to a queer shop and I had never noticed this before. But a queer shop by definition is supposed to be inclusive of the entire community. So like we're supposed to be seeing trans stuff, we're supposed to be seeing lesbian, gay, like all of basically the spectrum there. And everything there was centered around gay men, specifically gay white men. So it was just strange. I was like, huh. And he pointed that out to me. I was like, I have never noticed that before. There's not a lot of lesbian representation at all in any gay community, like in any like gay shop. So it's just, I don't know why that happens. I mean, I definitely think we do have our different spaces, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a lot of lesbian friends. I don't know why. It's not that I didn't have a problem or anything. I'm not sure why that is.
And it's interesting to see because, like, a lot of my friends are gay males. Like you said, I don't have a problem with lesbians, obviously. But it's also very, like, to me personally, having a lot of gay male friends is very different from having a lesbian group of friends. Like, it's not the same in a sense. I also feel like sometimes, I don't know, this is just me speaking, like, on behalf of myself, but sometimes I feel like lesbians are so sexualized and, like,
They are.
it's always like, ooh, she's a lesbian or something, like, so weird versus, like, a gay man is seen as, like, you know, flamboyant or whatever those stereotypes are.
Yeah.
So it's also really interesting to see people's, like, perspective on each group when technically they're all under, you know, they shouldn't be treated as so different. If that, like, people are more accepting of a lesbian than they are of a gay man. Like, for what?
I do think the world likes a gay man more than they like a lesbian.
I was about to say that. I was about to say I think that the world in general likes gay men more than they like lesbian women.
And
I don't know
obviously,
why.
That was like
Yeah.
I was trying to get like the gauge on that, Because like you don't see like lesbian representation
It's not
really.
represented.
Maybe in the black community, I feel
There's
like
not.
lesbians are more accepted than a gay man in the
I
black
was gonna
community.
say
To me.
that I don't know if they're as accepted. I just feel like you said, they're
Mhm.
sexualized.
And that's why to me, because if you sexualize someone, I mean,
I don't think you're accepting someone if you're like sexualizing them, because that's like the colorism thing,
But
like
we live in a
thinking dark
sexist-
skins
And
are.
I feel like I'm saying that because I've heard a lot of men say, I like lesbians, but I don't like gay men. I've heard that from every single black man I have ever talked to about being gay. My best friend is gay. That's the first thing any man has ever asked me. Like, so you're like, he's gay? Like, you know, that's your friend? I'm like, yeah. If it was a lesbian, would that be better?
You know
They're
what's
like,
weird
yeah.
though? I've had different experiences with black men. Not to say that I haven't had like
Yeah.
I've had experiences with hateful black men, but
Mhm.
also the other black men that I've met, like they don't really like it's normal to them, like or whatever. Cause
Okay.
you know Jonathan, who used to do Megan's hair or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like you see a lot of those types in the hood or whatever. And I'm not trying to assume what his sexuality
Yes.
is, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my assumption or whatever.
Girl, goodbye. Good night.
But no, like those are a lot of his types.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people find that to be normal or whatever,
Mhm.
so they don't really think anything of it. And then I've also met guys who don't like either or. Like
Really?
they don't want to
Yeah.
be around. Like threesomes don't excite them.
Yeah.
Lesbians
Yeah.
don't excite them. And I'm like,
I would argue that the reason a lot of straight men don't want to be around gay men, or like what you were saying, I would argue that that is also sexualization of a gay man, because they
Yeah.
assume,
That you
like,
want
first
to-
of
yeah.
all, I want you
Yeah.
to know I barely like gay men. So I'm not going to want you to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's just kind of an interesting thing to say. And I think I hear the same thing from straight women about being around lesbians sometimes. Like, oh, is she going to come on to me?
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
had friends that definitely cannot be their friends. Yeah.
Like it's just
That-
interesting because that's, you know, I mean that is a way to sexualize somebody.
But I would
That's
say-
definitely I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
That's so valid, and I didn't think about it that way before. You're completely right. Because
I didn't think about it until she said it. It
Yeah.
didn't really.
I've definitely been around men who they sexualize lesbians all the time,
Mhm.
but they're uncomfortable when it comes to being around a gay man, and
Mhm.
I do feel like a lot of it is sexual, because the first thing you think of whenever I was first coming to the gay community, or like to the queer community, whenever I was first like introduced to it, I was like, every couple I saw on the street, I don't know why I always just saw them like having sex,
Mhm.
like because I know that these two people, and that's just like how society taught me how to like filter things in and out of my brain.
Right.
Like it looks wrong with two women or two
Mhm.
men standing together. That was my young brain. That was like
Mhm.
baby Jake. And like
Come on, baby Jake.
and then like as I grew up, I was just like, that's crazy that I thought like that. But like I can't help from seeing that. So I get where you're coming from whenever you say it's also slightly sexualizing gay men.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, I would also say that like the sexualization or
Mhm.
whatever, that's just something that's also done in general. Cause like if you think
Okay.
about it,
Word.
a guy would fuck any girl that they really. I mean, if they needed to
Yes.
like you
Yeah.
know get something done, like they
Yeah.
would go to whoever they
That's
could hit
true.
up.
I just meant
So-
specifically on accepting someone who is gay versus a
No, yeah,
lesbian
yeah,
versus
yeah.
a gay
Yeah,
man.
so,
you know
like,
what I mean?
We do
That's
live in
what
an
I'm
over
saying.
sexualized society.
Society,
though.
yeah.
So naturally they just sexualize and like it makes them uncomfortable for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like they would have to dig into it in therapy.
Right.
Especially in the queer
Absolutely.
community. The queer community is like just hypersexual.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you
100. Every club you go to, I mean, like, I'm sure, like, it's like, I've been to strip clubs before, I'm not stupid, but, like, every gay club you go to, there's always going to be a stripper there.
Stripper, yeah.
There's always going to be
Yeah.
men with their shirts off, there's always going to be, like, dicks in your face, shit like
Wowzers.
that. So it's just, like,
Mhm.
that's how, I mean, do you,
I
Yes,
yes.
agree to
very
that?
You're
true.
absolutely
I've been a couple of times. with my
Like going
friends,
into the
yes.
bathroom is like
people are
causes
having
anxiety.
sex. Yeah, people
Yeah.
are having sex, they're doing blow in the bathroom, like,
Oh.
it's just insane. So, like, I can see where you're coming from. That was a good
So I mean, I would say like I was at Murphy's Mansion. I don't know if you know what that place
Mhm.
is, but it's like
Caribbean.
an African type
Well, African,
Caribbean. I
okay.
don't know what it is, but it's in like Richardson or whatever. And I'm gonna just say like the whole like you said girls be feeling the same way with lesbians.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say with my experience, that's why I be feeling that with lesbians. Because every time I go to Deep Ellum, any club, whatever, like some like lesbian always tries to like you know, get
Mhm.
with me, and
Yeah.
they do it in an aggressive way. So like naturally, I'm just like, okay, like I don't know, but that's not why I'm not friends with lesbians. So I
Absolutely,
would just
yeah.
say like,
And I've
that's
also
just the instinct I get
Yeah.
sometimes.
I've never gone into a bar, into a club. I've never gone to Deep Ellum, and like tried to like dance up on somebody, like another, like a straight, like I don't know, like I just like that'd be one that's weird because like I know you're not gonna like really be receptive to that. One, two, why would I just do that to anybody?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I almost I don't feel like the
But it's
like
different
straight
with
men.
girls.
I agree with you completely because
Girls, every girl thinks that they can dance on a girl, and I'm
Yes.
like, I'm
Not
not one of those girls that dance on girls. So.
But with
I
my
do.
point of like a straight,
Come on, girl.
you know, like if Skylar was married to a straight man and he was uncomfortable being around me because I
That would
was
never
gay,
happen.
I would
Never
ask.
get married
It would
to a
never
man like
happen.
that.
But my question to that would be:
I wouldn't. I would go.
Skylar's face right now. She was like,
we have full veto privileges over each other's partners.
Yes, if my husband, I want everyone to know right now, if my husband ever said something negative about this man right here, I would kill him. It doesn't even matter. It would never
Absolutely.
get past nothing. It doesn't
But it's
matter.
just it's interesting because I would like to know why. Because to me, if you're like religion or if you say like you have some kind of like really ethical thing against it, I would continue to ask you why, because you should be able to explain that. And I think it comes back to like, well, I don't want them like trying to come on to me or like trying to fill up on me. Like that's a little weird. I don't know many gay men. I personally don't know any gay men that would do that. Me.
Mhm.
That's just me.
Yeah.
I feel like I know.
Well, I'm
There
saying
are
like,
I'm also not like
There are
super.
lesbians and Deep Ellum are aggressive. I would
Okay.
say that.
Yeah.
So.
okay.
But I can also only speak for gay men. I'm not, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It's different experiences, and I think people just have to accept that people have different experiences.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But like you said, question why, because like there's no reason you should really be hateful.
Hateful.
Because
towards
if you
people.
ask somebody why enough,
they can't
and
explain
if they
it.
can't
They'll
explain
expose
it,
themselves.
Yeah.
exactly, they'll be like, well, it's because I'm really just don't like gay people. You know, like, there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't fucking like them.
But that's how the conversations go, and it's
Yeah,
like, so you don't
Break it
like
down for me.
gay
Why don't
people.
you?
That's an issue.
I just don't like that they get married to other men.
Men.
Why? It's two men. Like, so what I'm hearing is like that's just
Yeah.
a genuine like that's
That's how
a
it goes, though.
you know I don't know.
Yeah.
Shit. Next question.
Next question.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't do it.
It's okay.
Okay.
Y'all know that's my favorite part.
What does queen mean to you?
What does queen mean to me?
Clean.
Like yes, queen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Queen, first of all, means like a strong bitch.
Is that
Like,
a drag term?
Queen. I mean, like I feel like definitely that did come from drag, or drag has had its influence with the word queen in general. But I call everybody queen.
Okay.
You didn't call me queen today.
Queen baby.
That is
Good, mama. But yeah, I say it's to all of my friends. Like all my friends are queens. My male and my female friends, my trans friends, my friends that don't identify with either the genders. They're all queens. Queen doesn't really have like a gender on it. It's just like it is what it is. It's a bad bitch. Like to me.
Period. Not periodically, just period.
Period.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, I felt that.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of terminology that we use today does come from the gay community, in my opinion. Like queen, yes,
I think a lot
bitch,
of the terminology.
cunt.
I think a lot of the terminology that we have right now comes
does.
from Black culture, though.
Yeah.
I was gonna
We
say.
had that conversation.
Yeah.
I think we
it's
get a lot from
more
each other.
Personality, like,
Yeah.
comes from Black culture, but I think a lot of
Specific
words,
wording.
specific wording,
Yes.
comes
What do you
from
mean?
the like shade. That's
Yeah.
a gay community term.
Oh yeah,
Kiki,
yeah.
T.
Yeah.
Those
Like,
are like
yeah.
the gay community term, but like
The
being
delivery.
like very what do you call it, sassy
See,
or whatever.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's more of like the Black culture, like
Mhm.
they're emulating
Yeah.
Black females. So that's how I look at it. But shit, that was a quick question.
Man, I like that. I like the rapping. Come on, rapping.
Okay, do you feel like there's competition within the LGBT community?
Like between different identifiers.
Yeah, lesbians.
Yeah, I mean like there's competition with just being gay, like the gays, like
Right.
you know what I mean? Like we have like our categories. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like
Yeah.
we have our categories. Like we have twinks. We have.
I was gonna say even within each
Yeah.
even within each letter.
Yeah. We have like.
Explain.
So like we have twinks. We have like.
we have tribes. That's what they're called.
Like, we have like otters. We have these are tribes.
Otters.
Otters,
That's
and then
something
bears. And then we have, girls, so much more that I don't even know, honestly. I'm not even that
I've
familiar.
never heard
An
top
otter.
and bottom.
An otter?
Otter.
An otter is like
No?
a baby
No,
bear.
not really.
I think. I
Like,
think it's a
so-
baby bear. They have a little hair on
No,
their
otter is
chest.
a skinny, hairy man.
Yeah.
Bear is a bigger, older, hairy man. A cub is a younger, hairy man. Twinks are skinny, no hair
Pretty
anywhere.
femme.
Usually bottom. I mean, that's just the
they'll
truth.
usually take it.
Muscle, daddies,
Okay.
muscle. I mean, it's like it could go leather.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it could
yeah.
go like on and on and on.
What is it like? Oh God, when dressing up in like costume, like not
Cosplay.
cosplay,
Yeah.
but like animals,
Furries.
furries.
The gays love a furry costume.
Oh,
They do. I'll say it.
okay.
If y'all want to say something to me about that, oh hey _ Zach, let me know about it. But they do.
Yeah, so I definitely think that even just being gay, like there's competition. So in the LGBT community, there is 100% competition. Like, I talk to my lesbian friends about this sometimes. They're like, we're underrepresented here, and I'm just like, yeah, you are. Like, I don't know how. I mean, like, I try to do my best about like making sure that you're seen and like you're being seen and that your voice is being heard. But like in general, yeah, you are underrepresented. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, that's big of you to
Yeah.
like really just, admit that like wholeheartedly though, because there are people who will fight to like say like why their community is still the one that is more oppressed. But yeah, I mean, like, continue.
Yeah, I mean, like, so, I mean, I guess, like, in short, yeah, there's competition everywhere and, like, in the gay community. And, like, even in the straight community, I feel like there's
Yeah,
competition
there's
between,
competition.
like, yeah,
Everywhere.
you know what I mean? So, like, definitely.
Yeah.
She said,
I
I
don't
Like, you
know.
don't think so?
Well, I just feel like in life, that's like, it's always going to be something to where it's going to be the other side. It's always going to be something else. It's always going to be a
Yeah.
comparison regardless, so it's just like, I think that's just a given. anytime.
Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit more so competitive, like in the gay community and the LBGT community because, I don't know, it's a little
You're
bit smaller.
oppressed in a different way.
Yeah.
And one thing too that I think contributes to that is they put a lot of different people who are very different under one group of people.
Yeah, that's why
You know, like we all have like the black community. That's y'all's kind of common denominator, right? It's like y'all live as black people, but like the gay community, like people live as lesbians. People live as feminine lesbians and masculine lesbians and feminine gay men and like there's just so much
we
under
don't
this
have
one umbrella that it's like
yeah, that's
you
what I'm
know.
saying. So it's not as we
Yeah.
think about it, and it's just I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Skylar, don't try to play me, girl.
Like, get how you living.
Shit,
I
next
just like, I love
question.
it.
Shh.
Okay. What does pride mean to you?
What does pride mean to me?
Yeah.
Ooh. It's like, I mean, I guess like what pride means is like what it is by definition. I'm just like proud of like who I am. Putting all shit aside in the community, like all of the warring against each other, all of that, putting it all aside and just like celebrating like us, like how far we've come. I think that a lot of times we talk about how bad things are and how like you were talking about this earlier, like we focus on negative aspects of different communities and different individuals in those communities. Like we always talk about that because it should be talked about. We should be recognizing like where our privilege lies and stuff. But pride is a time for me where I don't try to focus on that as much. I just focus on like we have come a long fucking way. And I'm just like proud of everybody who's been on that journey, whether you've been helpful with the journey, which obviously like you're gonna get more accolades for me if you haven't been helpful, but like just like loving your community, every aspect of the community, like every community in your community, because there's communities in our communities.
When did you start celebrating pride? Because I feel like over the years it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I feel it's going to get to the point to where it's massive.
They always try to top themselves
Yeah,
out.
but when
yeah.
did you start celebrating first parade, all of
My
that?
first,
That's
yeah,
a good story.
yeah.
What happened?
Bitch, my first parade was
Bitch,
bad.
my first parade. Okay.
My first parade, so first, like, is Irene still on right now?
I think so.
Okay. Hi, Mom.
John's also on.
John's on too?
Yeah.
Okay. My mom didn't know where I was going that time.
Okay.
She knows now,
You're
but like,
grown now.
She said she is. She just said she is.
I am, okay, I am. Yeah, so like, I had to sneak out to go to my first Pride Parade. I think I was like 15 or 16. And I was able to get into bars, because I was like really small and like kind of athletic and fit at the time. Like, and I was just able to get into bars with my body and being young. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I was able to go to clubs. I was 15 years old. I was like underage, severely underage.
Severely.
Retweet.
and like hitting on guys and guys hitting on me and like doing stuff in the bathroom. My first Pride was fucking crazy.
Oh, you
It
had
is what
a good time.
it is what Pride is, you know? Like, it's just a
Yes.
fun fucking mess. But it was downtown in Deep Ellum.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Sue Ellen's and we went to S4 and then we went to Rodeo, what is it called?
The
Roundup.
Roundup, yeah.
Roundup Saloon, yeah. Gaga performs there sometimes. She wasn't there, but yeah, dude, we went all over, and I was like, that was my first time like going out and drinking with like my people,
Mhm.
and I was like sloppy as fuck.
You were 15.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
15 and drinking.
15 and
That's why I was so. I was
I'm
just
not
like,
joking.
damn, this is crazy. Like
Yeah.
this is not. Like this is insane. I've never been exposed to something like
Another
this
kind
before.
of lifestyle.
Yeah,
It's easy to go hard your first time because you've never been, in my experience at least, like you've never been around that many people like you before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you
And-
live your life around straight people. I mean, that's just kind of how it is.
That was another thing, dude. It was so nice finally not having to like fake it.
And you're not you're not the one person walking around that's like gay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're not gay in a straight world.
Yeah. It's also nice though, because like sometimes whenever I'm around my girlfriend, whenever I used to be, I don't have these people around me anymore, but like whenever I used to be around these type like some girls, they'd be like, you'd be like a token gay friend. And so I'd be like, damn, like y'all are annoying. Like y'all don't need to do all that. And in the gay community, if someone doesn't like you, that's tea. Like that's a like they're just like, I don't fuck with you. You can get out of my face. I'm just like, okay, got it. And it was nice to. Not that I like when people like say fuck off or anything, but it's nice whenever they're real about it and they're not treating me different because of something.
Yeah.
Don't waste my time to be fake.
Don't
Yeah,
waste my
exactly.
time.
Or yours.
Say like some of
That was another wake up call too, though. I was just like, oh, so y'all don't give a fuck at all, like at all in any aspect. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Do you have any comments before we go to the last question?
Your brother Elijah Soto, he said that he is happy that you owned who you are because it's helped him become more accepting of others.
Aw.
Yes.
I love you.
That is so good. Yeah, you have to be who you are. And you always you seem like you've always been yourself though.
Yeah.
I get that from you. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've definitely tried. I definitely like have veered off before, you know,
Mhm.
and like I feel like everyone does that when they're
Everyone.
finding themselves. But I always try to be authentic, or the most authentic I can be.
Mhm.
You know.
Okay, you did say that you dated girls before. Did they ever tell you like, I know you guys?
No.
I had guy friends that tried it, and I'm like, it's
Yeah.
okay, baby.
Like date with you. Yeah, bitch. So I had this one, my very first girlfriend. She's my first girlfriend, bitch.
I've known Jake
Embarrassing
since
to
the
talk
6th
about.
grade, and I'm just gonna tell you the truth, baby. You could never pass.
No, I know. That's what I was saying. It was so weird because I was just like, I am like clearly gay, clearly into dickly. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm like I don't know how you guys didn't know.
We
I
were in
felt
choir
bad,
together in
bitch.
the 6th grade.
Bitch, I was in choir.
Oh,
I was in choir singing. Bitch, what were we singing? We were singing some stupid shit.
Some gay stuff.
Yes. And we had like a choreo with it.
Yeah, we had, like, the
and,
dances.
Girl, it was. And then I was like there
It was very
over
show
there.
tunesy.
I like that. I wish I
that's
did that.
so cute. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay.
Shit, last question.
Make it high.
Okay, so how do you feel about non-queer people feeling offended on your behalf? This is a good question to ask.
Non-queer people feeling
So
offended.
allies, basically caping for?
Oh, depends on how they like say something. Like if someone's gonna yell, if someone's gonna talk to me about, if some straight person's gonna come up to me and talk to me about like being gay and like why I should be more accepting of certain types of gay people, like certain areas of gay people, I just simply wouldn't have the conversation. I would just be like, you genuinely just don't know shit. You don't know enough to tell me this stuff. So like whenever allies do that, like it pisses me off. But whenever allies are fighting for me and they understand where their boundaries are, where they can't say anything, I'm just like, by all means.
Hang on. The light ended. Sorry.
Oh.
Maybe
Well,
getting into it.
how many people watched?
We had at one point 12, but the average was 7.
Okay.
Okay, that's dope.
Zena can't save.
What? Can it post? Yeah, let's post it. What is it called? Queered. Yes. Does it still record?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's recording.
You mind pausing it?
I
That's the
can't.
question.
I didn't know if that's what you wanted me to do.
I know.
You know, I get so nervous. I'm like, I don't know, Victoria.
You know what? I'm so happy because you
Okay.
are your own person.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always say, parents have to realize their children are gonna be adults. Like, we
Yeah.
are who we are. We're gonna curse. We curse already when you're not around. So
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
are around, you just listen in the room. You might want to cover your ear because you're gonna hear something.
Right.
Yeah,
That you might not
Someone,
hear.
Misty-
someone's
Misty
gonna be
knows.
feeling comfortable.
You
Y'all
know,
need to
For my
so-
kids to like figure out who they are when I'm not around, I guess. I don't know.
I had that with my mom. She
Yeah.
kind of like unsupervised.
Yeah,
Let me
I
do what I was
like-
going to do.
Make sure you cut this out, Victoria.
I am gonna.
Okay.
It's not recording
It's
anymore.
not.
Even this.
The
The
ca-
live
oh, the
is-
camera.
live
Yeah,
is
the
on.
camera is though.
Oh, are we live again?
No, you ready?
Yeah.
And
Make sure you cut this
What are
out.
we talking about?
recording.
Allies.
Allies.
Being
and how do you
offended.
feel about them
It's on.
being, like, what did you call it? Caping?
Caping, yes.
Caping. Okay.
Some allies be
Why is
caping hard. Like
Can you
they're-
explain
they're-
that? What does that mean?
Caping, so like, you know, putting on like a superhero cape,
Oh,
and trying to save the
okay.
day and shit like that.
Okay.
Because they say a lot of things, and then like,
It's one of them.
I don't know, like you'll hear different things from people who are actually in the community. So
Yeah.
it's like they're the ones who are kind of like, you know, making the message not as clear.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, shit gets skewed with any community,
Yeah.
but, like, especially when people who don't know what they're talking about start talking
Yeah.
about things. And, like, damn,
It
like,
always happens.
like, it's just like, ooh, like, just shut up. Like, you know, like, the best. You know, like, whenever you start not to really understand what you're saying out loud, you're just like, oh, shit, what the fuck
Let
am
me
I
just
talking
shut
about?
up.
Just shut up. It's really easy. You just have to shut your mouth. But, like, I also love my allies.
We're gonna use that.
You know what I mean?
Just shut up. It's really easy.
Sound, what is it? Soundbite?
Soundbite, yeah, right. That's a soundbite right there.
no, but for real, because like if I don't know something, I'll be really quiet. Like
Right.
last week we had the spiritual panel. I was like dead silent because I didn't know shit that they were talking about.
They were also
Right?
spitting some truths.
Right, they were spitting some truth,
I know.
so I'm like just listening.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the only. You literally only have to do that. You can be quiet and just like listen to the people around you, and like you'll learn.
It's hard for some people because our mouth just is like,
Yeah.
like my lips move faster than what I'm thinking, and I'm like, what did you just say? Like, and then I go back to it like, oh, I said that wrong, but anyway, then I'll, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, I can shut up though, honey.
I feel like I'm only doing like talking over or going back and forth, like if it's like maybe a power play or I'm angry at someone, but like most of the times, like I feel like it's easier to just listen to what people have to say, whether like you want to prove them wrong or not, because
Yeah.
I mean, eventually they're gonna expose themselves by doing this,
Yeah.
or you're going to learn something.
Yeah.
So it's
And I
like-
also
Yeah.
think
That's the
like
message.
as an ally, it's important to. Sometimes you need to just. You don't know everything, like you
Yeah.
said. Even as an ally, like me and Zach have had so many questions where I'm like, okay, wait, so how should I say this? Or like when someone asks me this, you know, because like not to sort of like business
No.
or anything, but like even in
Girl.
high school, people would come up to me and be like, you know, is he gay? And I would be like, who the hell do you think you are asking something like that? And I would get so offended. I would get like angry.
And I only recently found this out, and I was like, you could have just been like, yeah.
That's not my
Yeah.
business to tell. I've always thought like, why? Like that's something you should never ask somebody. Like you don't ask someone to me, I would never ask someone their sexuality. I want to ask their friends, like, if they want to tell me, they
I
tell
don't
me.
ask her,
But
it's
if
the
not,
same.
You're
Really?
you're like cognizant though whenever you speak about it. Like people
I
who
try to
just
be.
people who
Yeah.
just say like word vomit,
Yeah.
that shit's
Mhm.
annoying.
Yeah.
That's
For me-
that's the stuff
Because
that
I'm
pisses me
asking
off.
sexual. Is that wrong to ask someone? Because you just want to know their preference. Because
I
I met
don't.
a man who
I think it's
who
fine.
I think it's
thought
fine,
he was
too.
straight,
Yeah.
but I found out later he liked men. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And that's irritating
and
to
then
you.
I had a friend who, yeah, you know, but it's like be honest. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm gonna let you know what I like. This is my
Right.
thing. This is that. So just be honest sometimes
Right.
with people who hide it. Not
I agree with that.
And I guess like
And-
people are also asking because like there's an experience that comes with it, so
Right.
they think automatically you may have had that experience, so they
Right.
just want to ask, hey, are you
And I think
gay?
people are just like
Yeah.
genuinely curious.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Like if
I
you
love
just
it.
want to know, like I don't care. Like that's, I guess, like if that's what does it for you. But for me, I don't like, and this is a conversation we have a lot, is I don't like when somebody who's like not like had the same experience as like a non-gay person. I don't like when they try to tell me that I should be offended about something, or when they tell me the language that I use is incorrect or improper.
Ooh.
And that's the conversation we just had before we started recording, you know, about the word queer. That's not a word that Skylar necessarily felt like was an empowering word, or, you know, it's a negative connotation, which isn't necessarily incorrect, but like to us, it's not. You know what I mean? We don't use it that way.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, that's the biggest thing that irritates me, and I see this a lot, is people who really have no meat in the game try to tell you what you should be offended about. And I see it with white people with BLM. Like,
Yeah.
you should be upset
Did I
about
not say
this.
it there?
And
Did I
it's
not
like,
say that?
that's like not your
Yes.
place.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? You know, you can't tell somebody when to be offended if you don't really, if it's like, honestly, none of your business. It's
I
great
feel
that you're an
like-
ally, but you don't have to be offended for me.
As an ally, you need to speak to the people on your side.
Correct.
That's how I feel. Like you don't need to be speaking to anybody else, even if that person is hating within their community. You gotta let the people in the community handle that shit.
Yeah.
It ain't got shit to do with you.
Yeah.
So
And we
Yeah.
talked about that too, like using with as far as like Black Lives Matter. I use my white voice and my privilege to preach that to the white people who will not listen to somebody who's black.
yeah.
And I think it's the same thing, you know, with straight people. If you know, they won't listen to me, but they might listen to you.
Yeah.
I also think it's important though that you were like, because I agree with you. I don't think that it should be offensive. I don't find it offended when people ask me if I'm gay. I'm just like, bitch, I don't know how you didn't know, but like, yeah, like I'm not offended by it.
Yes.
But like, I also feel it's okay for me to ask other people if they're gay. And the reason why I said like you were being cognizant of what you were saying, the reason I was agreeing with her wasn't because like I don't think like the way she went about it was like bad or anything, but like you also didn't know a lot, so like getting offended like that is an appropriate reaction at that age. To be like, how dare you ask this? That's my